We were so excited that God had given us a call to plant a church that would be like missional, where people would be reaching out to friends and neighbors with the gospel. That's their identity. A church that would be multi-ethnic, and that variety would extend to being a church that's multi-generational. So it would be young people, with lots of energy, older people with a lot of wisdom, and just that curious, cross-pollination that would happen in a community life. And then finally, a church that would be multiplying. A church that would not only look after its own interests, but would care about giving birth to new movements and new plans and new projects that would bless the city. And that was something that really resonated with us. Like, how incredible would it be for us to be a part of something like that?
So when Phil first shared with me his heart for church planting, my immediate reaction was no, because I was afraid, and I always thought of the worst case scenarios, and I was really afraid financially. How would we survive? We were both in a stable job, and we would have to resign to do something that's unknown.
That just brought a lot of doubt, a lot of fear, and a lot of questions as well. Do we even know what we're doing? Do we have what it takes? Will we have the resources? Who will come with us to do this?
I prayed, God, if you've put this in Phil's heart, you have to put it in my heart as well. Within a few months, I felt God answering my prayer. And what really spoke to me was the verse Joshua 1:9, where his word says, "Have I not commanded you? Do not be afraid. Be strong and courageous. Do not be discouraged. I am with you wherever you go." And to me, that was just a reassurance of, it doesn't matter if we have to live on less. It doesn't matter if things don't work out. As long as God is with me and I'm in step with his calling in this season, then things would be okay. So then I felt a great peace. And not only was I not afraid, I was excited. And so I shared with Phil, I think God is really calling us into this. That's when the journey began.
For us, there was this real gut check moment where we had resigned our jobs. We were about 2 months away from LA, where we'd be learning about church planting with the church down there. First thing they said to us is, "We have good news for you and we have bad news." So the bad news was that all the funding that they had, originally planned for us to do that residency down in LA, they said all of that had fallen through. Then they went to the good news, and I didn't look at Grace yet, and they said, well, the money's fallen through, but we still want you. So if you're still in, instead of fundraising a year from now, maybe you guys should have been doing it last month. So I remember at that moment thinking that, you know what, I think, God is still calling us to it, but because we're a team, it really depends on how Grace feels about this too. I remember looking over at her, and she didn't look scared at all. It was as if this whole call from Joshua 1:9 to not be afraid, to not be discouraged, to trust God that he is with us in everything. That is an easy journey, that it will be difficult at the start, that this would happen now before we expect it. I remember asking her, are we still in? And she was definitely in. So for me, that's the moment that I cling on to, that God was not only encouraging me and speaking to me, he was calling both of us, and he was using adversity to really clarify that. I still remember our very first core team meeting right here in this living room. There were about 10 of us. I think 80% of us was, my immediate family. I remember thinking, wow, this is a wonderful group. I can't wait to do life and do church with this group. At the same time, I was thinking, well, I sure hope other people come and join us too, because if not, this will literally be a family church, right? I remember thinking, wow, like if God is going to do something with us, he's going to have to bring his team. And I look back at that, and I look at who we are now, and definitely God has been bringing his people for his purpose, for his church. This is his church. Ultimately, what we really want is for people to love Jesus. And how wonderful would it be if it started with my family?